I truly believe there is more love and more consciousness on this planet than ever before, and more people awakening to their truth, leading us back to our own power, our own truth, our own clarity, so that we can choose the life we really want and create the world within ourselves and around us that we want to experience. That you is this divine, infinite being of pure love, consciousness, source energy, where everything is known and it's all perfect and everything's eternal. You do create, but you're ready for it to be even easier. All you have to do is choose. All you have to do is choose.
Sara Landon, welcome back on Just Tap In. What are you most excited about right now globally and in your life?
Oh, what a good question. Well, right now I'm most excited to be here with you and to co-create this sacred conversation. I really am grateful for the opportunity to be with you again and continue to expand on all of the amazing things we chatted about in our first interview. But I am so positive and excited about this time on Earth in my own personal life. And collectively, I truly believe there is more love and more consciousness on this planet than ever before, and more people awakening to their truth. And I think it's an opportunity for all of us to remember, when we see things happening in the world that we don't prefer, to remember that it's all leading us back to our own power, our own truth, our own clarity, so that we can choose the life we really want and create the world within ourselves and around us that we want to experience. So I'm so excited.
And it's very interesting because as your work continues to evolve, many new things are coming to the surface around these teachings and what it means to be a self-realized human. One of the things that really caught my eye and my heart as well when I was investigating into what you were talking about and what the council was bringing through was around living and leading from a new earth soul perspective. And I just wanted to open the can of worms on that because it's such a big topic, what it really would mean to lead as a new earth soul. Where would you like to start us off with that huge topic that is very, very, very prevalent right now?
Well, I think the essence of that is being a way shower in your life, in every opportunity, no matter where you are, is really being a way shower, which means that the way you live your life and the consciousness you're in and your communication, your actions, your energy, your vibration is really what is offering an opportunity for leadership for others if it is their choosing. And so as a way shower, you're not a way demander, you're not a way teller, you're not telling people what they should do. You're stepping into your own highest potential. And as a way shower, you lead and inspire and empower and you uplift from that place. And I think we're being called to that now more than ever before. I see so many people awakening all around me that I don't know that I would have imagined are awakening to a deeper truth and purpose and love within them, not because they aren't incredible, powerful masters and beautiful souls, but we're going so far beyond the beliefs of our programs and limitations, I think, at this time. And I'm just so excited to see that happening. But I truly believe that every single person has a purpose. And I think one of the most difficult things is to feel like you don't know what your purpose is and to be searching and seeking. And I think the more each one of us embodies our own purpose and lives it to the fullest, it truly helps others to remember their own purpose as well.
And one of the big words there that you mentioned was embodiment. And we actually were in our last conversation toward the end, live during the conversation, we came to this realization that the new style of leadership is only around embodiment. Yeah. And how do you embody that new style of leadership and just living your life to the truth? And I feel that every time I hear, live your truth, live your authenticity, I grasp, it's harder for me to grasp that in a way that feels grounded, living our truth. Because for me, maybe, drinking a beer or a wine every once in a while is living in my truth, but I have peers saying that's wrong. So how can we start identifying when our truth is coming from a place of embodiment rather than something that is maybe more performative or identity-based for others as well?
Well, I think the ultimate embodiment is love. And, loving yourself enough to not judge yourself for anything, right? I think that a lot of these quote unquote spiritual or unspiritual things, right? And, in order to be spiritual, you have to do these things and not do these things, is all really based in judgment. Now, you may find personally, like for me, I personally don't drink coffee because I don't feel like my best when I drink coffee. Do I think that many, many spiritually embodied, enlightened masters drink coffee? Absolutely. But for me, I know it doesn't support me or help me to be my best, to be in my highest vibration. So it's my personal choice or preference, but I never judge someone who does choose to drink coffee. I think that's wonderful if that's what's right for them. And so I think we personally, part of embodying your truth is letting other people be where they are and on their own journey and make their own choices. And so not to judge yourself or others. Now, you may eat something or drink something or do something and you go, wow, I don't feel so good. It's not about judging yourself. It's about choosing from that conscious, loving place for yourself first. And I'm one of those people who, when I first heard the word embodiment, and it probably came out of my own mouth in a channeling, some of these words like embodiment and alignment, and sometimes I would kind of roll my eyes at those things because like, what does that even really mean, right? But when you start to shift your awareness to what does it mean and what does it mean for you? I'll give you an example. As before we started our recording, I was sharing with you some things that have been happening in my life over the last couple of weeks. And so I've been doing a lot of traveling. And I really, really, really wanted to get home. I was so excited to go home after being gone and traveling a lot. And my husband and I had taken a couple of long flights and had been a few days. And we were 10 minutes from home. And all of a sudden, brake lights in front of us. And all the traffic comes to a dead stop. And up ahead of us, there had been a multiple car crash. And so both sides of the road were shut down. And one part of me really wanted to lose it because I was so wanting to get home. And I felt all this resistance and reaction. And how can this happen? And I just started to take some deep breaths and come back to my truth, come back to my breath, come back to a conscious present place. And I sat there for 2 hours being very present. And at one point we thought, well, should we turn around? And neither of us felt like it was time to turn around. And then all of a sudden, we ended up getting through and everything was fine. And luckily, everyone sounded like was okay in the accident. But to me, embodiment is one of the ways you can start practicing it or really living it is to catch yourself when you want to react, when you feel resistance, and you might have every right to feel that, but it's to catch yourself in those moments and go back to presence and consciousness and love and kindness and truth instead of reacting or going into resistance or getting triggered. So we come here as, I believe, I believe we all come here as realized, enlightened, embodied masters in a little tiny baby body, right? And we have all this wisdom, but we, in the stages of growing up and brain development, all of those things, we tend to become programmed to think we're something other than that and to believe we have to do certain things to earn that or be worthy, or we learn how to deny love for ourselves. We learn how to deny our own worth. And so it's about coming back to that truth within you. And sometimes what seems like just taking a deep breath and coming into a present moment, how could that really help, right? Or how do you really feel better? Or how do you feel embodied or realized? But you do. You really do. And from that point, when you are conscious and present, you have so many more choices that are supportive of your well-being and your joy and love. And so a simple thing that you can do to start living more embodied is to just notice when you're about to react or feeling resistance or feeling triggered, that you take some deep breaths and stay conscious and present until the point that you feel like you're in your power. And then you can choose from that place of love and move forward from there.
One of the teachings that came through as well around what we were just talking about is you were telling me in our last conversation that when you go beyond judgment, you go from a fourth dimensional state of transformation into a fifth dimensional state of pure love. But it almost seems that judgment has been hardwired into us, into our programming since such an early age, keeping us separate from the world around us. What has been that role or that purpose of judgment, and why is humanity starting to be ready to shed that now in order to go into this fifth dimensional state of pure love?
I think it's a bit unique for each person. So instead of giving you a definitive answer, I want to offer maybe a tool that you can use if you notice yourself in judgment about yourself or someone else or something going on in the world. Ask yourself, what is this really about? What is this really about? And let that answer come to you. Because your judgment of a person or yourself or a group of people or whatever it is might be trying to show you something, right? If you see something that somebody has and you wish you had it, and all of a sudden you're judging them or sort of tearing them down, if you ask yourself, what is this really about? You'll notice that, oh, maybe I was holding myself in a place of not being worthy of it. And instead of judging that person, maybe it's clarity for you of that's an experience you really want to have, or that's a way of expressing yourself that you really want to embody for yourself. And so ask yourself the question, what is this really about? I personally think judgment is a habit. I think it's a habit. And you can observe someone in your life that's maybe very judgmental, and you realize it's a habit, right? And so if you can look within yourself as well, where do you have these habits of judging certain things? It's just a habit. And the second you question it, what is this really about? You have an opportunity to shift that habit to seeing the good in others, knowing your own worth, really seeing consciousness and love in action instead of being in judgment.
I love that perspective. And another habit that we're very accustomed to is identifying ourselves with certain human roles in our life. Mm-hmm. I am a son, I am a wife, I am a husband, I am a daughter, whatever it is in our life. I am a podcaster, I am an author. And really something that's beautiful that's coming through for you now in your teachings with the council is around shifting from these human roles, awakening to them, and moving more into these soul type roles that we're heading into. What would you like to say around that, around this shift that we're realizing right now?
Yeah, I think first off, really honoring the roles that we have played, consciously or unconsciously. seemingly by choice or not by choice, right? But we all do play these human roles, and we're here to have a human experience. We chose to have an experience of being a daughter or a son or a husband or a wife or a friend or a podcaster, an author. We've chosen to explore those human roles, and that's a really wonderful thing. But that's not all that's going on here, right? And so, as you mentioned, my newest book is the 11 Spiritual Roles of the Soul, and it's all about discovering your life purpose as it relates to the spiritual roles of the soul. And so for you, for example, you're a connector, you're a way shower, you're a guide. And so you can see in your own life where if you aren't connecting people and that's your spiritual role, you don't feel like you're living your purpose. You don't feel very fulfilled, right? For me personally, I'm a messenger. And so people might think, for example, let's take Oprah, that Oprah's life purpose was to come to Earth and create the Oprah Winfrey Show. I personally don't think it's that specific. I think she came here as a messenger, right? And she came here with a message. And she also liked to highlight and feature other people's messages because that's the spiritual role that one of the spiritual roles that she's here to play as a messenger. And because she was so passionate about it, and because she leaned into it so deeply, and because she was living her purpose as a messenger here on Earth, she was very, very successful and seemingly very, very fulfilled. And so and I went through this myself. I know you've gone through some of these things as well. When you are on your life's path and you think you're doing what you're supposed to do, right? And for me, it was the career and the house and all the things I thought I was supposed to do, and then I would be happy. And yet I didn't feel very fulfilled. I didn't feel like I was living my purpose. I had no idea what that was. And so when you start to awaken to that you really are a spiritual being, you're a soul, you're an eternal divine being having a human experience, having experiences as human roles, and there's so much more to you. And people have these inherent gifts and abilities that once you start to awaken to all of this, they all come online. Right? When I was in the corporate world, I had no idea that I was a channel. And it wasn't until I started to really awaken and pursue what is my purpose that my abilities and gifts as a channel all came online. And it was very natural for me. For example, one of the other roles is a role of a healer. One of the other roles is the role of a seer. Now, I particularly didn't have a natural ability necessarily as a seer where I knew other people in my life that could see auras, they could see people's energy, they could see things beyond the veil, and that was just so natural for them. And sometimes as a kid, I'll give you an example of a young man in my life, and I remember he was really young and innocent, and he was talking about how he was communicating with the dog and how he could talk to the dog, and his brothers started making fun of him. And I never again saw him ever talk about being able to talk to the dog. So as a child, you may have been very, very aware of these gifts and abilities, and yet you may have said, oh, I saw this or I saw that, and somebody embarrassed you or made fun of you or reprimanded you for some of these gifts, and so you shut them down. And you may or may not remember them, but you came here with them. They are encoded within you, and it is, from my perspective, it is this such an important call, truly a call at this time, that we all step into the spiritual roles that we're here to play in this great awakening that's happening on earth at this time. And so I truly do believe, I really, truly in my soul believe that we will live in a fully awakened world in this lifetime. And each of us stepping into our spiritual roles and living our life's purpose and expressing ourselves to the fullest and living our own highest potential is the most important thing that you can do to contribute to that. And a world that is where there is peace and joy and abundance and well-being and freedom for everyone.
I would love to hone in there. You mentioned at this time, the importance of this time. And we've all heard, maybe not all of us here, but many of us have heard that there's this great awakening of human consciousness. And you said it in the very beginning. What has that really meant to you as a lived experience, and how you've seen, even over the years, how this awakening has been accelerated, and how more people have the capacity to stop suppressing their roles and step fully into them again for the first time?
Yeah, great question. It was probably 12, 13 years ago that the council first started talking about the Great Awakening. And at one point in about 2015, they said we would live in a fully awakened world by 2035, but more people had to be awakened by 2027 in order for that to happen. But this was going to be a really critical time. And they were, it was a very uplifting message. It was a very empowering message. It's inevitable. You've already crossed the threshold. It's gonna happen. But living in your own sense of fulfillment and purpose and meaning is really, really important. And you have these gifts you're here to share with the world. And you're a perfect example, right? You gravitated and felt called and had a passion and an interest to start your podcast with a particular topic and with particular types of guests and conversations. And you have no idea the millions of people that have been positively affected, empowered, inspired, uplifted by something you have said, by something one of your guests have said that maybe changed the course of their entire life, or helps them to wake up to the fact that they have spiritual roles that they're here to play on earth. And that may mean changes in their life. It certainly meant changes in my life. But once you do understand there's a great awakening of human consciousness occurring at this time, and you're a big part of it, and you start to move in the direction of that which feels like your calling, your own greater calling, your own highest potential, you have no idea how many people that ripple effect will touch because of you living your truth and living your purpose.
I don't think I told you this, but a few weeks ago, all of a sudden the YouTube channel was hacked and completely taken down from YouTube. And I went into a meditation one night that same day, and I started seeing all these threads around me that were connecting to anyone that has ever been in this energy field of this space, of this podcast, of this container, these conversations that we co-create. And when I started looking at the spiritual roles, I'll name a few, as you mentioned: healer, messenger, seer, transformer, visualizer, dreamer, guide, connector. They inherently, involve other people. They inherently involve a path of service as well.
Yeah.
Is that what makes the role a spiritual role, or is there something beyond that as well that makes this role so special?
Well, I personally believe that we have prepared lifetimes throughout eternity to live these roles on earth at this time. And so you come here with these gifts and abilities. And I believe that you really have amassed these gifts throughout eternity and likely multiple lifetimes, all for this time on earth right now, the greatest transformation of human consciousness that has ever occurred in any lifetime. And so in the human experience, for example, if you want to be a particular role or job profession, right, you have to get training, you have to get certification. And so people oftentimes feel like I've got to get some sort of certification, and yet they have these gifts and abilities that they have amassed over lifetimes to share on earth at this time. And so it's about really tuning into that. Now, of course, you can be a connector and also be a husband or a son or a father, right? It's not about abandoning those roles in any way. It's actually, in most cases, more consciously, intentionally bringing all of you to those human roles. But in order to bring all of you to your human roles, you've got to really embody your greater spiritual roles here. And in the book, I talk about 11 spiritual roles. In my spiritual roles mastery course, we include the 12th role. And I would never limit it to any of that. When I did my book launch, someone asked about a particular role. And I said, well, I think that's sort of part of the role of the uplifter. But how you're expressing it is really amazing. So the uplifter is someone who are just naturally, they just walk into a room, and they have this joy and this innocence. And I can think of one of my really dear friends, and she's just a natural uplifter. Whenever she walks into a room, she's fun, she's outgoing, she's always making things fun. And so the question was about, what about people that are bringing a higher vibration and a higher consciousness? What's that role called? And I said, well, I think that's really the uplifter, right? So it's not necessarily about being funny or happy. It's really about raising the vibration and the consciousness. You're uplifting the vibration and the consciousness everywhere you go. And so you may naturally gravitate when you first read the book or take the course to, oh, I'm a connector, or I'm a messenger. But then you start to really lean into all of these roles and playing them consciously and intentionally and seeing how impactful that is. I recently had an experience that most people would label as, a really sad event. But that wasn't my perspective on it. For me, it was a very peaceful event that was based in deep love. And so my vibration and my energy was calibrated, if you want to call it that, to peace and love. And I know me being in that place of peace and love made it a little more peaceful and loving for others who may have seen it as a really sad experience. Now, there are also times when someone is an uplifter in my own life, and I can really receive their gift and appreciate their gift. And so that's also a really important part. It's to me, it's like another level of finding your soul family. So many times I hear students say they want to be seen and heard, right? But sometimes when you can actually see and hear others, you feel more seen and heard. And as you embody your own gifts and you can see the gifts in others, your own gifts begin to expand and open even further.
And when I was sitting with the roles, naturally there was an aspect of me that wanted to identify with certain roles. Mm-hmm. And what was interesting, that there was a certain moment where I sat with a few of the roles, and I just immediately knew, like, it was a knowing that this is the role that I chose. Yeah. Yeah. And in your course, you're going to be doing an activation that is around meeting the you that chose the roles. You with a capital Y. Yeah. And I wanted to do a maybe like mini segment on understanding that you here, because there was an aspect of me in that example I just shared of, it wasn't my human ego saying, I'm the messenger, I'm the seer, it was just a natural, like, I know that this is what I came here for. What is that you that came to that realization?
That you is this divine, infinite being of pure love, consciousness, source energy, where everything is known and it's all perfect and everything's eternal. And it is the highest truth of the source and the love and the God that you are. And I'll share a story. When I first started channeling the council, I had this experience where I was doing meditation and I saw myself walking into this room. And in the center of the room was a table, a round table. And seated around the table were the most unbelievably beautiful, divine, glowing, illuminated beings. They were just, I was in awe, and they were around this table, and they were just so magnificent. And I was just in awe of these beings around this table and how incredibly brilliant and magnificent, and they're just their energy and their light. And then I realized there was a chair, and I realized they were inviting me to take my seat at the table. And then I started to remember my own magnificence, my own eternal nature, my own wise, masterful soul. And I took my seat at that table, and I became one of those beings. I became illuminated in my own light. And I knew this power, I knew the truth, I knew the divine plan, I knew how perfect it all was. And so it's meeting that aspect of you that chose to be here on earth at this time during the Great Awakening, and knew how important every single one of these roles would be to the Great Awakening of human consciousness, and chose which roles you wanted to come here and embody at this time. And I believe we're here for expansion, expression, to express all that we are, the fullness of all that we are, and experiences, and to choose the experiences we want to have. And I think our soul also had a divine plan and wanted to have certain experiences. And I know for myself personally, when I'm embodying my spiritual roles, and as you said, you will know exactly what roles you're here to play. And you will know, and you will remember the roles you chose. And in time, you'll remember why you chose them. The more you embody them, the more you'll remember why you chose those particular roles at this time. But you'll see and value the roles that others are playing too. And a lot of times I can think of so many different examples of this as in all the different roles with students from all around the world. But a particular woman who was in an occupation that had nothing to necessarily do with healing, but she always wanted to be a nurse or a doctor. She really liked to help people. And so her human roles were very different. Certainly she was a mom and a wife, and she had a job. But over the course of awakening to her spiritual roles, she resonated so deeply with being a healer. But she kept going back to, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I have no qualifications, I have no training, right? And so then she began to awaken more and more and become more aware of this role of a healer. And all of a sudden, she remembered that she was a remote healer. And she started doing remote healing. She started doing sessions with people, and all of her gifts began to download as she opened to it. And now she just does the most amazing work as a remote healer. I can give you so many different examples like that, but you will remember, and your logical mind might try to say, but who are you to play these roles, or what skills do you have? And in those moments, I want you to remember, right, that the you who chose those roles knew that you had amassed these gifts throughout eternity, throughout lifetimes, to share them on earth at this time. Mm-hmm. And they will download. They're already encoded within you.
Mm. I was sitting down the other day, and I was just automatic writing, and a full poem came out. And one of the lines that really stuck with me was, "On the other side of forgetting is bliss." And to remember implies that we forgot. Mm-hmm. And here I'm just contemplating, because there's a moment where forgetting was necessary in human history, in our development. But I'm also seeing in my reality experiences where people are, as you said, downloading all of these gifts. I'm talking about light language, psychic abilities, remote viewing, energy healing, without having a single ounce of training in this human life, and it's just coming back online per se. Why do you feel it's no longer necessary to forget that we even chose these roles in the first place?
I'll give you a little bit different example. So I first learned to ride a bike as my form of transportation, right? So I learned to ride a bike. And when I was a kid, I was really excited to ride a bike and learn how to ride a bike so that I could go across town to the swimming pool by myself in the summer and go swimming at the community swimming pool, right? And so I learned how to ride a bike. And then later in my life, I learned how to drive a car, right? And so my bike got me where I wanted to go, but let's just say it was 100 degrees outside. Now I can drive the car, I get there faster, and I am nice and cool and air conditioned along the way. You don't have to forget how to ride a bike in order to take an easier, more efficient, more effective way. And so while we may have forgotten, right, when we remember, right, we can take with us all of it, right? And I believe we came here absolutely knowing the truth, who we are. I think that's why if you're in a room when a baby is born, it's the most incredible experience, this pure source energy and light and love that moves into the physical realm. To be present in that experience, just you can feel the energy of this being that already knows who and what they are. And while we may have quote unquote forgotten, I know that even when I was a young child, I knew things like there's something more. I have a soul. There's a part of me that I knew I wasn't separate from God. I knew that God was within me. I remember things like, if you can see it, it's not very far away. If you can visualize something, if you can see it in your own mind, it's already in your consciousness field. We knew a lot of this stuff, right? So we understood that forgetting at times might be part of the process, part of the experience. And we weren't afraid of that. And we knew it was going to take great courage at times. But the most important thing in this life is to fully self-realize, to really come into the realization of all that you are as pure source energy, an eternal being having a human experience. And whenever you get there is perfect, and whatever got you there is perfect. And so when there's an easier way, right? For me, it's way easier to live conscious and present and remember who I am and live in pure love. It's way easier. People say to me a lot of times, oh, but it's so hard to be present and to be in a state of pure love. And actually, it's really, really hard to hold yourself in lack, limitation, judgment, and fear. It's actually really hard.
Unnatural.
To lower your vibration. It's unnatural. It's not who we are. It's actually hard, which is why it's so exhausting. When you're happy and joyful and you feel this love and love just pouring in your heart, that's easy. That's who you really are. It's easy. That's your natural state of being. And so anytime you were in a state of love for anything, you were remembering. You were remembering, even if you didn't have the words.
That's so beautifully said, Sara. Thank you so much for that. And for those that, maybe are new to your work, you channel this group consciousness that pours out wisdom called the Council, which is very much merged with you right now at this time. And we were talking before getting on around opening the channel, opening the space to hold a container where we can bring through the Council and ask a few questions. So I'm just getting the intuitive ping that it's the time. So I'd love to hold space for that.
Yeah. So if you are new to me and the council, I'm just going to close my eyes and take a couple of deep breaths. I'm not going up there, out there to get the counsel. I'm reemerging with the part of me that is one with the counsel always. I know who I am. I know where I am. I know who I'm talking to. But I close my eyes because the streams of consciousness are so intense and the love is so intense that it helps me to bring forth the information more easily when my eyes are closed. But I do know what's going on. The cadence of my voice changes just a little bit. But if you're new to channeling, if you're not sure, is that really the counsel or what? Just feel for the vibration and feel for your own resonance with something they may say, and that it is reminding you of a truth that is already within you, that you have summoned to you through this communication today. So with that, I will go ahead and bring in the counsel.
Yeah, beautiful. I always say, hear it with your heart, not with your ears.
Yeah, agree. We are so pleased and delighted to have the opportunity to speak with you on this fine and glorious day indeed. While our words to you are important, this is a vibrational experience of remembering the truth of who you really are, why you are here, and all that you intended when you chose this magnificent life experience. You chose to come forth during this time of the Great Awakening, the greatest transformation in human consciousness that has ever occurred in any lifetime, that is unfolding at an unprecedented rate at this time. It is so important for you to step fully into all that you are, to be and express all that you are, to share your gifts at this time. You are so needed. It's so important. You have been prepared. You are ready. There's nothing you need do but fully give yourself permission to be all that you are, to bring forth the gifts that are within you, to live as the master that you are here to be. It's so important. And the time is now. What questions do you have for us?
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here and making contact. I wanted to refer to our conversation with Sara when she mentioned that when she started to work with the council, that you mentioned that this year of 2027 was going to be a threshold year. And as I'm looking now at the bigger picture, we're 1 year out, 1 year away from this year. And I wanted to ask how we can begin to start becoming aware of the signs, both internally and externally, that this massive transformation of consciousness is already underway.
Well, you're seeing it all around. You really are. You're seeing that there is more consciousness on your planet than ever before. There are more people conscious of their health and their well-being, more people conscious of their own abundance, more people conscious of freedom, more people conscious in choosing love and kindness, more people choosing joy and to live their purpose. It is truly the most important thing to let everybody be where they are on their journey. Everyone will get there in their own time, in their own way. It is not about saving a broken world. It is not about fixing a broken world. It is about being love and consciousness at this time, and that your actions come from a place of love and consciousness, not trying to fix a broken world or save a broken world, but to focus your attention and intention on that which you love, that which is inspiring to you, that which is uplifting to you, that which is joyful for you. And in that, you will expand upon the potentials and the possibilities for all of humankind. And so your contribution is your vibration, your light, your consciousness, your love, the life that you create, the heaven on earth that you create for yourself, your own embodiment, your own gifts. If you feel like nothing is working, you're trying so hard, you're working so hard, you're trying to make something happen, you're trying to fix something in your life or your relationship or your job or your body, chances are you're not embodying all that is already here within you, available to you. And the more you allow yourself to align with it, the more it will expand. And so there have been many events that have been divinely orchestrated, all leading to this time. This time really is about embodiment and empowerment, your own personal power, not fighting against those who you perceive are trying to control or have power over others. People ask us, how will we ever get rid of the people in the world that are taking power from others or controlling others? And our answer is this: so long as there are people who are giving their power away to others, there will always be people wanting to take their power. Your power is for you, dear Master, and it is about you fully stepping into complete and total self-empowerment to create your life the way you want it to be, to choose your life the way you want it to be, to live your life the way you want it to be, and to embody all that you are. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. And as you were responding that question, the power went out in my building just briefly. And that's very interesting because speaking of signs, that's when we know the vibration is high and when technology is having a hard time to keep up. You've been talking a lot about mastery right now, also as this 12th spiritual role. What is, let's say, the most practical way to return to our own mastery and remember that we are the master?
So ultimately, it's to remember that you came to self-realize, to fully self-realize, to come into the realization of all that you are, and to stay on the planet at this time, living in abundance, well-being, joy, freedom, harmony, doing what you love, doing what brings you joy, and knowing that that's your greatest contribution to your beloved human family. Living as the master that you are in your experience of heaven on earth, allowing all of the abundance, the well-being, the joy, the freedom that is inherently yours and has always been. We don't mean to create a hierarchy or a comparison or duality, but it will help your logical mind if you can see it in this way. Most all of you understand the collective consciousness of humanity, or what you might call the third dimension, where the majority of the collective is operating in an experience of separation, which is what we refer to as the third dimension, where there is war, where there is crime, where there is abuse, where there is fear, where there is lack, where there is limitation, where there is struggle, where there is force, where there is effort. We refer to the fourth dimension as the dimension of transformation. You realize you are not your circumstances and conditions. You can change your circumstances. You can change your conditions. You can elevate yourself beyond separation, and you can transform your life. You can transform your circumstances. You can transform your body. You can transform your relationships. You can transform your career. However, there's always this judgment of what's right and what's wrong and what needs to be changed. And that judgment keeps you in the fourth dimension, where many people on an awakening path, if you would call it, get stuck, sometimes for lifetimes, because you're always in judgment of yourself and your circumstances and conditions and others. But your real opportunity and reason for being here is to step into the fifth dimension of pure love, to go beyond judgment and step into pure love, where your well-being and abundance is assured, what you want and need shows up even before you know you need it, where you truly live in your own experience of heaven on earth. And so it's not a hierarchy, it's not a better than. It is a level of consciousness that summons a level of energy into your experience, which determines the level of consciousness you're in. But you're not here to rid the third dimension of fear and prejudice and separation. You're here to elevate yourself out of the third dimension of consciousness by summoning your own energy, which raises your vibration and allows you to live in a state of pure love. You're not here to judge what's right and wrong and then try to fix all the wrongs in the world and make them right. You're here to transcend and ascend beyond the fourth dimension of judgment into pure love. And so if you think of the third dimension and the collective of human consciousness, when you elevate yourself into pure love, you are releasing, sort of say, the stronghold of the collective human consciousness operating in the third dimension. And you are contributing and adding your focus, your attention, your consciousness, your love, your light, your vibration into the fifth dimension, the collective consciousness that we refer to as the New Earth collective consciousness. Again, we don't mean to create any sort of polarity, because there's no judgment from our side ever. But if you could choose to live in pure love in your experience of heaven on earth, in a new earth where there's peace and joy and love and harmony and abundance and freedom and well-being for yourself and for everyone, we think you would choose it. You would run towards the collective new earth consciousness. And that's really what's happening at this time. You're not just walking over to the new earth consciousness. You are throwing your arms in the air and your head to the sky with light in your eyes, and you are running, arms out wide, into the collective new earth consciousness, which is gaining more and more and more momentum, and it's becoming deeply grounded into your being, your way of being, and is becoming deeply grounded into the human experience. And we've never said it like that before.
Wow. You often refer to us not as these human bodies, human meat suits, human identities, but you speak and refer to us as a force field of consciousness that we all are. How can we begin to intentionally expand that force field of consciousness in order to draw in, not chase these newer experiences, but actually expand our force field of consciousness to completely step into a new reality? What is that process?
We'll add to it to help you, and we think this will be valuable. The formula for all creation is that consciousness summons energy into form. Your level of consciousness is determining the amount of your own source energy that you are summoning into your physical experience. And the more energy you're summoning, the more you're expanding the force field of consciousness that you are. When you lower your consciousness through resistance, reaction, fear, you literally begin to cut off or limit the amount of your own source energy that you're expressing into your experience. And therefore your reality, your physical nature, is affected by the lack of source energy that's flowing through you. So then you are condensing your field of consciousness. But your force field of consciousness is determining what's available to you. The wisdom, the answers, the knowing, the next perfect step, the energy, the light that's always guiding you. So as you expand your field of consciousness instead of contracting your field of consciousness, so much more opens up to you. You can't understand the concept of truly living in heaven on earth or a new earth when you're in a very contracted consciousness of fear, lack, limitation. But as you expand that consciousness and you summon more and more of your own energy into your physical experience, all of a sudden, you remember that the new earth, heaven on earth, is why you're here. And you start to experience it all around you. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It does. And
so to simplify, you're either expanding your force field of consciousness or contracting your field of consciousness by your level of vibration and frequency, which is, and that consciousness level is determining how much of your own source energy is flowing into your experience, which is what determines your reality.
The way I'm receiving that teaching is when our attention and our thoughts and our emotions are going into something external outside of us, maybe a relationship that's causing us problems, our boss is causing us problems, then instead of summoning our own energy field, we're giving that energy field to something else.
Well, your boss and your relationships can't cause problems. You can choose to entangle. You can choose to deem yourself powerless because of this person you label as a boss or this person you label as a significant other. But nothing outside of you can cause you any problems. You always have a grander perspective in any moment. And in that grander perspective, you always have a choice. So go ahead and ask your question again.
I was going to say, that's how the master chooses. That's how the master chooses.
The master chooses. And yes, you do create, but you're ready for it to be even easier. All you have to do is choose. All you have to do is choose. And once you choose, it is about maintaining alignment to your worthiness, your infinite potential, divine orchestration, and the energy and the light that is always guiding you, which is you. So someone might say, well, I'm in a terrible relationship, and we don't communicate very well, and we don't get along very well, and I'm very frustrated. And so you can choose from that place of clarity what you really do want. Everything is always happening for you to bring you into new levels of your own power, to get clear on what you really want so that you can choose your life the way you want it to be, and therefore create your life the way you want it to be. We understand that in the moment of clarity that you want a conscious, loving, harmonious relationship, that you might not just snap your fingers and all of a sudden change the person you're in a relationship with to be the way you want them to be. But that doesn't mean you can't choose a conscious, loving, harmonious relationship. If you will stay aligned to that, first and foremost, by having a conscious, harmonious, loving relationship with yourself, you will raise the vibrational set point of your relationship where the person you're in a relationship with will either meet you there or it will become absolutely choiceless, that your paths are leading you in two different directions, and the loving thing to do is to allow each other to move in the direction that is aligned to each of your own truth. And as you continue to choose a conscious, loving, harmonious relationship, first and foremost with yourself, you will absolutely draw into your force field of consciousness someone that is also choosing and aligning with a conscious, loving, harmonious relationship. And it'll be very easy to know who that is, because you can tell by the way that they talk to themselves, the way that they think, what they say, the way they speak, the way they act, that this person is in a conscious, loving relationship with themselves, so is therefore ready, if they choose, to be in a conscious, loving relationship with someone else. And now you have experienced your ability to choose to be in a conscious, loving relationship.
Beautiful, beautifully said. And counsel, the last question I have for you today is, as these teachings are evolving and human consciousness is prepared to receive these new teachings, what do you feel is the next octave of messages that you are transmitting, especially in the next few months to come?
You are everything you wish to be. You already are. It is all within you, and it always has been, and it always will be. That is our first teaching we ever offered, and it is what we emphasize in every opportunity. You already are. It is about letting go of all those things that keep you from being all that you already are. But your own empowerment and embodying of the truth of who you are is the most important thing at this time. And so we offer the affirmation, I know who I am. I know who I am. I know who I am. And if you would start with those words and then, I know who I am. I know who I am. I know who I am. I know the power that I am. I know the truth that I am. I know the God that I am, the source that I am, the light that I am, the love that I am. If you would start to affirm these in your own mind or out loud and start to feel your way into your power, feel your way into an embodied state, we promise you, your life will expand beyond your wildest dreams. You will be living in a level of purpose and meaning and fulfillment beyond what you can imagine possible, with greater abundance, greater prosperity, greater joy, more love, more freedom, more well-being. But it's who you are and have always been, if you will allow yourself and remember your infinite worthiness. Remember, all of your power is within you and here for you. And that power is your own energy. And it's not about having power over any other. In fact, the more you embody your own power, the more empowered you are, the less desire you have to try to control anyone else. And ultimately, everything on your planet that you're arguing about or fighting about, or wars are about, it's all the same thing. It's all about energy. It's all about power. Now you may think, oh, well, it's all about oil, or it's all about this type of power or this type of energy. But ultimately, it's all about your personal power and the summoning of your energy. So if something triggers you, like a war or someone who's taking power from someone else, it is your opportunity to look at within yourself. What am I giving my power to? Well, if that person would just change and they would stop doing that, then I could be happy. Then I would be free. Then I wouldn't be so upset. It doesn't work like that. What am I giving my power to? Even asking that question starts to summon all of your own power back to you. You start to come into a level of consciousness where you open up and start allowing all of your own energy to serve you. This is the most important thing. You are all completely free, sovereign, divine, infinite sources of energy. Every single one of you. That is your power. Your power to create your reality, the power to create your heaven on earth, the power to have any experience that you choose for you. But most of the time, and here's the secret, you're so focused on how other people are taking your power and energy in habits that keep you from being in your power and summoning your own energy. Again, back to your conversation earlier. How you feel about what you put in your body is more important than what you put in your body. So, most of the time, your habits that we refer to are more about the thoughts that you are thinking and what you are feeling. That's what you're giving your power away to. The habitual thoughts that affect your emotions, that affect the way that you feel, which affect your vibration, which determines the level of energy you're summoning. And then, if you do choose to, let's say, eat sugar, and then you judge yourself for it, that is a habit that you have of giving your power away that you keep going back to. It's not about the sugar. It's about the habit of giving your power away, the habit of judging yourself, which deems you powerless or determines the level of power or energy you're summoning. Does that all make sense to you? You have people that you know, there are all kinds of stories. Someone who is in a level of consciousness that could, we don't encourage this, we're just using it as an example. If you're in a level of consciousness, you could eat the hottest, spiciest thing you could imagine, and it would move effortlessly and harmoniously through your body with ease without burning your tongue or burning your stomach. It's more important the state of consciousness you're in and how you feel about what you're putting in your body than what you put in your body. Do you understand? So you also have a study that shows that you can take 2 glasses of water and you can tell 1 glass of water that you love it and it's the best water ever and you're so thankful for the water and you're such beautiful water and you're so nurturing and you nourish my body. Thank you, water. Thank you, water. You could take the other water and you could tell it's awful and terrible and it's the worst water ever. And you can literally see that it changes the molecules in the water. Now, what do you think? If you knew you were going to drink the water that was so high vibrational and good and glowing and crystallized and beautiful and illuminated, and you see it as sacred and you put it in your body, it's going to nourish every cell of your body. If you're about to something that you think is terrible and awful and bad and wrong, and you judge it, that's how your body is going to receive it. Do you understand that?
I do. That was very profound. Yeah. Counsel. Thank you so much.
You could, and this again is, you haven't even scratched the surface of your personal power. Everybody's so concerned about, or people on your planet are concerned about all of these different things that are put in food or not put in food, or put in the environment, not put in the environment. But it's your level of consciousness that determines your experience of it. And so when you really understand, and there are many studies in your human experience that prove this, there are people that work in high-level positions that have literally learned how to train their mind and their consciousness field such that they could drink very high volume alcohol and never experience the effects of it because of the level of consciousness and the attention that they're holding and intention they're holding about what they're putting in their body. And the same is also true. You could take a glass of water and you could have some friends come over and you could decide it's a party and it's a celebration. You'd all start giggling and laughing like you're drinking alcohol even though you're not. And this is just a simple example, but we want you to really get it. We want you to really get it. If you feel like the color blue, whenever I wear blue, something amazing happens. A miracle happens. Whenever I wear blue, I attract more abundance. Whenever I wear blue, the most magical things happen. You could set an intention to every color or every shirt or every outfit or every stone or whatever it is all day long. And we promise you, you will have that experience because that is your intention. That is what you're focused on. What you focus on and the meaning you give it is what creates your reality. It can be no other way.
Wow. Thank you so much for that counsel. I really, that message really landed for me powerfully.
Can we expand upon that for just a moment because we hear it?
Of course.
So someone says, oh, so you're telling me I put this blue shirt on and then miracles are going to happen. Oh, we'll see. There's no way that I put this blue shirt on and miracles are going to happen. The universe only says yes. The universe only says yes. If I put this blue shirt on, miracles aren't going to happen for me. Then that will be your experience. If I put this blue shirt on and I know that miracles are going to happen, then you're looking for them, you're receiving them, you're allowing them. Miracles and abundance and magic and amazing things are here all the time. They're all in your force field of consciousness. The more that feels expanded, the more that is here for you. But you can't be in the state of doubting and denying it and also receive it. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
And you don't have to believe it. But again, you are the creator within your own creation. And everyone else is too. You are creator within your own creation. And everyone else is too. So you can create in your reality an experience that you place an intention on every color that you ever wear, and that will determine the amazing experiences that you have while you are wearing that particular color, and it has to be your experience. And someone else can say, that's silly, that doesn't really work, and the universe only says yes, because you are creator within your own creation.
The universe always says yes.
Always and only says yes. And some of you say, well, that's not true because I said I wanted this and it didn't happen. What if it did and you just haven't allowed yourself to receive it?
Ooh.
We give this analogy like going into a restaurant and the waiter brings the menu and says you can have anything you want. And you say, oh, you know what I'd really love? Oh, I'd really love this. Oh, that would be so delicious. Maybe it's a piece of chocolate cake. Maybe they have molten chocolate cake with ice cream and chocolate sauce dribbled on the top. And it comes all warm in the middle. And then the ice cream melts and you see it on the menu and it's your favorite thing. And you say, oh, I'll have the chocolate molten lava cake with ice cream, please. And the waiter takes your order and brings it back to the cook, aka the universe. And the universe, aka the cook, is making your beautiful molten chocolate lava cake. And you go, wait, sorry. I really shouldn't have that. It's bad for me. I really shouldn't. I don't know if I'm worthy of it. I'm not sure I've done enough in my life yet to deserve a piece of chocolate cake. No, I know it's bad. No, never mind. Change it to the sandwich. I'll have the sandwich. Okay, so the waiter goes back, cancels the order with the cook, aka the universe. The waiter is your thoughts. And says they want the sandwich. Okay, the universe says, yes, now they want the sandwich. Great. And then you call the waiter back over, aka your thoughts. And you say, never mind. I really shouldn't have the sandwich. Just bring me a piece of lettuce and a carrot. And the universe says yes. Because if you believe you're not worthy of it, if you believe you haven't done enough, you haven't proved enough, you haven't worked hard enough, if you're always testing the universe, if you don't believe that the universe only says yes, if you don't believe it's possible for you, it won't be. And that's okay. You will get there. We promise you, you will. But we're telling you right now, today, you can choose your life to be the way you want it to be, that you are creator within your own creation, that the universe only says yes. But here's the thing. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. When you go to a restaurant, you're there for an experience. You actually want it to take a few minutes because you want to visit with the people you're with. You want to enjoy the ambiance. You want to feel that, knowing that this delicious cake that you've ordered is on the way, and you can't wait for the moment until the order is fulfilled and the waiter brings your wonderful piece of cake and you get to share it and enjoy it with the people you love. You're there for the experience. You're here for the experience. You're here for the journey. You're here for the experience. So don't start doubting that the universe only says yes when the cook is just in the kitchen preparing your meal.
Mm.
You understand?
Yes, beautifully, beautifully.
And because you want to know the what's possible, leading edge, what's next, new teaching in the fifth dimension of pure love, what you want and need shows up even before you know you need it. The highest potentials present themselves to you and you just say yes. Yes, 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 because the universe is really responding to your alignment, your vibration, your potential. You're choosing the timelines. Your soul already knows your ultimate desire, the experience that you want to have. Your soul is the one that placed your biggest dreams in your heart. So you really don't have to keep obsessing over it. But if you shift into the fifth dimension of pure love by elevating your consciousness, summoning your own energy, knowing your worth, knowing the love that you are, the power that you have, that you're creator within your own creation, and you choose your heaven on earth, everything begins to show up and it's a yes. It's not this constant trying to manifest things. We speak of true creation. And you'll start to see things showing up and showing up and showing up beyond what you could have imagined or thought to ask for. But it's so much more fun when you really step into true creation. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that cutting edge teaching.
Indeed.
Appreciate it.
And again, the awareness is the first part.
Yeah.
When you begin to have an awareness of more that is possible for you, you begin to perceive more that is possible for you. Once you perceive that more is possible for you and you shift your perspective that more is possible for you, and that it can be easier and it can be more fun and that it can be beautiful and it can be pure love and it can be heaven on earth, then you start to draw to you the experiences of that. And once you have experienced it, then it's truth. If you're in the state of awareness, that's perfect. Sometimes the awareness is the hardest part. The awareness of it, beginning to perceive it's possible for you, experiencing it as reality, that's what makes it truth. If you've never experienced it, we understand that this is just the awareness phase for you. Perfect. Enjoy the journey. Start perceiving it as possible for you. And as you start having the experiences, then this becomes the truth that you remember that was already within you. You summoned this to you. You are channeling this to you.
Do we need to have those experiences in the external world in order to experience them as truth? Or can it be an internal experience without having even necessarily occurred in the external?
Well, it happens in the inner world first anyway. It happens in the inner world anyway. The perceiving, shifting your perspective is that shift in experiencing it in your inner world, the truth that is already within you. Does that make sense? And you're in physical bodies on earth at this time for a reason. You chose to be. This is a grand adventure. This is an epic ride. This is the vacation of a lifetime. You chose to have experiences in the physical. They are a reflection of the experiences that you're having in your inner world, as you call it. But you're here to experience them in the physical. We don't want you to, we teach the process of getting into a space of absolutely nothing could make me any happier than I am right now. And that's not about the external world. And it can be, but it's about your inner world. Within you, absolutely nothing could make you any happier than, absolutely nothing could make me any happier than I am right now. Absolutely nothing could make me any happier than I am right now. And then really feeling into that. But when a thought comes like, oh, but it'd be so fun to go to this retreat they're having, and Bali. But it would be so fun to go to Hawaii, or it'd be so fun to be in a conscious, loving, harmonious relationship, or it would be so fun to create such an incredible level of abundance and prosperity that I could share and do the most amazing things to empower and uplift others. And that would be so fun. It's not about, I want to manifest that. It's about, how fun is that going to be? Absolutely nothing could make me any happier than I am right now. And how fun is that going to be? And living from that place of, I know I'm going to have that experience because I can feel it. I know. I don't care if it's tomorrow. I don't care if it's a week from now. That really doesn't matter. I know I'm going to Hawaii. I know I'm going to be in that relationship. I know. And then you get excited and you get ready for it. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It does.
And it's really important to understand this. Your desires, those experiences you want to have because they're fun, those dreams that are placed in your heart are there for a reason. Those experiences that light up for you, that you are so drawn to, are for the purpose of your own expansion and even greater joy.
Yeah. They're there for a reason.
Indeed. And it doesn't matter where you go. You can go to Europe, you can go to Asia, you can go to America, you can go to Africa, you can go to California, you can go wherever. But it's all leading you deeper and deeper and deeper into the truth of who you are. Wherever you go, it's all going to just lead you back to you.
Yeah. All paths lead inward.
Yeah.
That's the motto.
Yeah. Really good. We have enjoyed this conversation with you so very much. It is our great delight to watch you shine your light so bright.
Thank you so
We
much.
love you. We love you. We love you. And with that, we are complete.
So much love. Sara. That was really profound. That was so funny. They just wanted to keep going and unraveling even deeper in the teaching, which was fascinating. Thank you so much for being available to that.
Thank you.
Just the reflection of even, I know you started off this journey with Tony Robbins, and I know that at his events, he's prepping you into this state to then walk on these coals of fire. And most people say that they don't even feel the pain. They don't even feel the heat. And that was a little bit of the example that they were giving around when your consciousness is at this state, a lot of these external things, whatever we put in our body, kind of just dissipate or dissolve. Such a powerful teaching. It's very empowering too. Yeah.
It reminds me of this, I don't know if it was a documentary or something I watched many years ago, and it was about hypnobirthing, like women who were having babies, but they were literally, through different processes and techniques, what they were really doing is raising their vibration and their consciousness so high that they weren't feeling the pain of giving birth and childbirth. And to me, that's just another, there's so many examples all around us, whether it's raising your consciousness and your vibration and summoning so much of your own energy that you don't feel the hot coals or you don't experience pain in the body. And that's really what's possible for us, truly. And ultimately, I talk about this in the book and in the Spiritual Roles Mastery course, but, the ultimate understanding is, if we go pharmaceuticals, for example, and it's like this, well, that's wrong and these things are wrong and we've got to get rid of those things and that's terrible and awful and bad. Or you can take the perspective of, but wait, I can raise my own vibration and summon my own energy such that I can align to my own infinite well-being. And everything in my body will be regenerated and rejuvenated to align with that state of well-being, and therefore healed, healthy, whole. And to me, I think it's like the role of the spiritual role of the healer is the path to that, right? And so as I see the spiritual roles as part of the Great Awakening from a grander perspective, it's not fighting against anything in the what you would call old system. It's truly about understanding that these spiritual roles are the bridge to a fully embodied, enlightened, empowered way of living in the new earth collective consciousness.
We're ultimately bridging a whole new paradigm of what it means to be here on earth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
yeah.
Wow.
Sara,
thank you for this conversation.
Wow. As you know, we end every show with a segment called the Final Trio, which are some questions that we ask at the very end. Before that, I would love to give you the space to tell us and let us know where people can find you, what you have going on. You mentioned this beautiful book that's right there behind you.
Yeah.
Where would you
11
send people
Spiritual
to
Rules of the
connect?
Soul is now available in paperback, audiobook, and ebook. I'm so in love with this book. I truly hope, my intention is that no matter where anyone is in their journey, they can pick up this book and be fully awakened and empowered, uplifted, inspired as they go through the journey. And, if I had a superpower and it could instantly help someone live their purpose and feel that sense of purpose and meaning and fulfillment, to know who you are and why you're here and to be sharing your gifts with the world, that to me is just the most amazing thing, to have the privilege to be who you are and to share the gifts that are within you and to live a life of purpose and fulfillment and meaning. That's just everything that I hold so deep for you and for the greater human family that we all are. So I really love this book, and I hope all of you will love it as well. Yes, my new Spiritual Roles Mastery course. When we are recording this will come out. This will start live. The live experience will start on February 3rd, 2026. But regardless of when you watch this or hear it, the replay experience with all of my courses is truly as powerful as the live experience. And so check out the Spiritual Roles Mastery course. It really is a expansion and a super deep dive into how to awaken, activate, and embody the spiritual roles. And it really is about creating the new paradigm that we just talked about. So you can find that all at saralandon.com. You can find the book at your favorite retailer. I have several other books out there, 4 other books out there, and many, many courses. Some of the most notable ones are You Are a Channel, for those who are awakening their own connection to source energy and infinite intelligence. We all are channels. Doesn't mean everybody's going to be a verbal channel like me, but I think that's a very important part of your spiritual roles. So You Are a Channel, realizing your divine prosperity, your ultimate desire, which is your soul's ultimate desire for freedom. You can find all those courses at saralandon.com. So thanks for having me.
Beautiful. We will link everything down in the show notes as always. And these last 3 questions, of course, are personalized to each guest. The first one I had for you today as we wrap up, and these questions are really meant to integrate the whole conversation and leave people inspired, hopeful, and ready to take massive action in their lives. The first one I had for you is, what's the most unexpected thing that the council has ever shown or told you?
Wow, that's such a good question. But I go back to what they said today, and it's the very first thing they ever said to me. And every time I hear them say it, and every time I hear or read a channeled message, you are everything you wish to be. You already are. When you really get that, everything changes. I want to say when you really get that, game over, but when you really get that, it's like game on.
Game on.
This earth experience is the master's playground. The master's playground. It's all here for you.
Wow.
Good question.
The next one goes really tied to that because it's, what would the master version of humanity stop doing immediately?
Anything that they don't love and that doesn't bring them joy.
Simple. If your soul could speak directly to the part of you that once doubted that she could live the life that she's living now, what would it say?
See, I told you so.
Why'd you doubt me? Why'd you doubt me?
I told you so. It really didn't have to be as hard as you made it, did it? I told you so. I told you. Right? Yeah. Yeah. My soul's a little sassy. It would say, I told you so.
Feisty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah, good question.
Sara, it's always an honor and a pleasure to weave together with you. You emanate and radiate just this immense amount of beauty and wisdom that you carry. So I wanted to honor you for that and for really stepping into all of the roles that you are here to not only play, but also show us that it's possible to be in those roles, and then how to serve from that role. So appreciate you so much. I know we're going to continue our conversation, this beautiful friendship, and I'm excited to see what's next for you and what's next for both of us as we each remember and help others remember at the same time. So thank you.
Thank you. I love you, my friend. I appreciate the opportunity and always enjoy these sacred conversations with you. So thank you.
Always. Love you too. Much love.